Yo, 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 this is an emergency episode of Out of Pocket with RG3 hosted by your boy, because Derek Carr, the New Orleans Saints starting quarterback, just retired. Woo-wee. Do I have a reaction to that? Before we get to that, make sure you guys like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's right, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel because we can't do this without you. So what are you waiting for? Take the mouse, put your hand on it, move it over to the subscribe button and click, 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 click. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you go check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We need you guys over there as well to run up our listens and to have us climbing up the charts. So, let's get to this Derek Carr situation. All right, guys, out of nowhere today, New Orleans Saints starting quarterback Derek Carr retired. Very sad day indeed, but let me tell you exactly why it happened. In late March, they put out that while he was ramping up his preparation for the 2025 season, Derek experienced pain in his right shoulder. It was his first time throwing a football at a significant volume since recovering from both a concussion and left hand injury that he sustained during play on December 8, 2024. Derek immediately contacted the Saints medical team when this happened. Eventually, medical scans determined objectively that Derek sustained a labral tear and also had significant degenerative changes to his rotator cuff. Since that time, Derek, his representation, the Saints medical team, and outside medical experts have worked together to determine the best path forward. Surgery was an option, jeopardizing the entire 2025 season, yet there was no guarantee Derek would return to the level of strength and function and performance of play to which he was accustomed. Upon consultation with his wife, Heather, Derek has decided it is in the best interest of both his family and the Saints organization to retire from the National Football League. Derek had this to say: "Upon reflection of prayer and in discussion with Heather, I've decided to retire from the National Football League. For more than 11 years, we have been incredibly blessed, and we are forever grateful and humbled by this experience. It's difficult to find the right words to express our thanks to all the teammates, coaches, management, ownership, team officials, and especially the fans who made this journey so special. Your unwavering support has meant the world to us." Wow. I mean, a lot to take in there. But when it comes to Derek Carr specifically, I'm heartbroken for him, because any of us in our lives, we don't want to be forced to have to give up the thing that we love the most. And Derek Carr, to me, has always been a great guy. He's always given it his all on the football field, played through injury, done everything he can to be the greatest teammate possible. And the way that he navigated the Oakland Raiders at the time through the Henry Ruggs situation, the way that he navigated the Oakland Raiders at the time through the John Gruden scandal, and then also having to lead them in the transition from going from the Oakland Raiders to the Las Vegas Raiders, to me, showed his greatest quality, which was leadership. He was a great leader. He was undervalued as a leader and a great teammate. So I want to say to Derek, I know this isn't the way that you wanted to retire, man, but at the end of the day, I hope you have a long life and you get to enjoy it with your wife, Heather, and your family, because you've earned it, man. Tip of the cap to you on a great career, and hopefully you'll still be able to throw that ball around with your kids someday. Now, when it gets to the dilemma of the Saints, boy, oh boy, this is a tough one, because the Saints have put themselves in quite a pickle. And I'm going to attack this two ways. First of all, I'm going to say the New Orleans Saints don't need to sign a quarterback for Kellen Moore. He's a first-time coach. It gives him an excuse and the organization an excuse to say, this is why we weren't good. We're sitting here in May. The season's a couple months away, and our starting quarterback, who we've played millions of dollars to, retired on us. He got hurt. It's a great excuse. Now they're sitting there with the rookie and Tyler Shough, who they just drafted from Louisville. And they've also got 2 second-year quarterbacks in Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. You'd have to say to yourself, what do those guys bring to the table? Well, Spencer Rattler, I think, was an underrated prospect coming out of the draft last year. He has moxie. He has undervalued and underrated second reaction playability. What is a second reaction play? The first play is dead. Everyone's covered. The second reaction, the scramble drill, the ability to create. Spencer Rattler is actually a lot better in those situations than people give him credit for. He's also a much better scrambler than people give him credit for. He's just not 6'4" and runs a 4.3. And when you talk about Jake Haener, listen, Jake Haener is a gunslinger who just doesn't have a strong arm. He's always been that way throughout his career, and he's got a face card that makes the ladies go wild. But none of those things are going to help you win football games. And when you dive into Tyler Shough, here we go. And when you dive into Tyler Shough, the draft pick that the Saints took in the second round, a little bit more deep, you understand. That's so horrible phrasing. Here we go. And when you dive deeper into Tyler Shough, the quarterback from Louisville that the New Orleans Saints selected with the number 40 pick in the NFL draft in the second round, you clearly see that he can make every throw on the field. He has the height. He has the athleticism. And Kellen Moore believes in him. And the New Orleans Saints organization believes that he can be their quarterback of the future. That's why they drafted him where they did. But also the bottom line is Tyler Shough had 3 season-ending injuries in college. And just as excited as Louisville was to get him in the building, they were just as excited for him to leave. And the same can be said about Texas Tech. My sources all said the same thing. Tyler Shough will make you believe that he is going to be the next great quarterback. And when you start to work with him, you finally realize that there's just something missing. Maybe Kellen Moore and the New Orleans Saints can pull that out of Tyler Shough. But Oregon couldn't, Texas Tech couldn't, and neither could Louisville. But all of these guys are Kellen Moore type of guys. Think of Kellen Moore's career. Underrated and doubted. Not a strong arm, but he threw it great anticipation and timing. Coaches all have egos. We all do. Let's be honest. Everybody has an ego in some instance. But one thing coaches love to say is, I made that guy a success. It was me. It wasn't just his talent. It wasn't just the work that he put in. Nobody believed in him, and I brought him in, and I got the most out of him. Well, with Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler, and Tyler Shough, Kellen Moore can say all of those things. He couldn't say that with Dak Prescott, who he was the offensive coordinator for in Dallas. He couldn't say that about Justin Herbert, who he was the offensive coordinator for with the Los Angeles Chargers. He couldn't say that with Jalen Hurts, who he was the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. So maybe he approaches this and says, this is my opportunity to take a New Orleans Saints team that no one believes can win with our current quarterback situation and find a way to get it done. Man, wouldn't that just be an extra stitch on my back? Wouldn't that just be an extra medal on my coat? Maybe it would. But let me tell you why I don't think that they should go that route. Some people, first thing that comes to mind is, who are the quarterbacks that are out there that are available that we can trade for? Oh, yeah, let's go get Kirk Cousins from the Atlanta Falcons. He got beat out by Michael Penix Jr., and he's just sitting there on the bench. Why not go get him? Well, one, I think it's very unlikely to go get Kirk Cousins. Well, first and foremost, he's in the division. He's got a massive contract, and the Saints aren't trying to get into more salary cap hell by bringing on his massive contract. But not only that, Kirk Cousins looked different last year coming off of his Achilles injury. So if you just had a quarterback in Derek Carr who had to retire because of injury, why would you then bring in on a guy who is 1 year removed from tearing his Achilles and didn't look like the same player? That to me wouldn't make much sense. But the guy that does make a ton of sense to me is Aaron Rodgers. the New Orleans Saints, Kellen Moore, Mickey Loomis, they need to call Aaron Rodgers. Not for Mickey Loomis, not for Kellen Moore, but they need to call Aaron Rodgers for Alvin Kamara. They need to call Aaron Rodgers for Demario Davis. They need to call Aaron Rodgers for Cam Jordan. They need to call Aaron Rodgers for Brandon Cooks. They need to call Aaron Rodgers for Justin Reed. They need to call Aaron Rodgers for the honey badger himself, Tyrann Mathieu. The reason I say that is because those veterans don't have time to go through a rebuild. They don't have much time left on their clock when it comes to NFL years. So if you're going to call a guy that you know can get the job done, that you know will instill confidence into that locker room, Aaron Rodgers. Let me put it to you. Aaron Rodgers, not a great quarterback. He had a terrible year last year. Yes, Aaron Rodgers had one of the worst years of his career last year playing for the Jets. But he still finished 8th in the NFL in passing yards, 7th in the NFL in touchdowns with 28, and he had a QBR over 90. Just for reference, Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler last year combined to throw 5 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. In case you don't know, that's more interceptions than touchdowns. And their combined quarterback rating was 65. Now, I'm a guy that believes that Spencer Rattler with time can be an effective starter in this league. I really do. I like his makeup. I like the way that he attacks the game. But I also believe he's a guy that needs a little bit more time. And who better to sit behind to get a little bit more time than Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers is not the cancer in the locker room that people make him out to be. His teammates absolutely love him. His teammates swear by him up and down. Look at Jordan Love. And he sat behind Aaron Rodgers. And even he will tell you that Aaron Rodgers is a great teammate to him, a great mentor to him. Why? Because Aaron went through what he went through with Brett Favre. And he understands what it feels like to be neglected as the backup young quarterback trying to make it in this league. So he's not going to come in and shun whoever is behind him. He is going to take them along for the ride with him. So I believe the New Orleans Saints shouldn't be thinking about first-time head coach and let's make it easy for him. They should be thinking about those veterans. Alvin Kamara, Cam Jordan, Brandon Cooks, Justin Reed, Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis. Those guys are like J.G. Wentworth, okay? They want their cash now. They need to call 877-CASH now and go get Aaron Rodgers so those veterans can win because they've put in the time and the effort. Whew. Now, I will say this. The Saints need to call Aaron Rodgers. But it's also baffling to me what they did in the draft. The New Orleans Saints knew that this was a possibility for Derek Carr with his shoulder. And if they knew that it was a possibility that, hey, man, I don't know if he's going to get a chance to play, why in the world would they pick Tyler Shough as the quarterback to succeed Derek Carr as their starter? If anybody should have traded up to try to go get Cam Ward or traded up to try to go get Jackson Dart, it should have been the New Orleans Saints. If anybody was going to draft 2 quarterbacks in this draft, it should have been the New Orleans Saints. Look at Dylan Gabriel, a guy who has gone viral for talking about how he wants to play in a dome, a lefty who has the most starts in college football history. Why wouldn't you draft him? He's a proven commodity. He's exactly what you're looking for. And that dome is only going to increase his arm strength. That dome is only going to increase his ability to be a playmaker. If anybody should have drafted Shedeur Sanders, and have him be the second quarterback that they drafted. It should have been the New Orleans Saints, not the Cleveland Browns. Hey, Shedeur doesn't have a strong arm. Hey, that dome is going to increase his arm strength at least 5%. Hey, Shedeur Sanders brings too much attention as a backup quarterback. Then why wouldn't you put him in a situation where he's competing against Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Haener? I'm completely lost at what the New Orleans Saints draft strategy was. And don't get me wrong, guys. I could be completely wrong. Tyler Shough might be the next coming of Josh Allen. And if he is, I will go streaking. I will run through the streets with no clothes on. But my point to you is, history has shown us that is very, very, very unlikely to happen. Tyler Shough ended up being a good or great NFL quarterback. But his history says that he's probably not going to be available injury-wise. His history says that there's just something missing. So why would the New Orleans Saints take on that responsibility? Why would you take on that responsibility when you have better options? So now, if you're the Saints and you tell yourself, we're not gonna go and even call Aaron Rodgers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are interested in him. We don't know if he's going to retire. We're just gonna move forward without signing a guy like that because we don't know him. He hasn't been in our building, and we're trying to build a new culture. Then the New Orleans Saints need to go trade for Jameis Winston. Okay? If it's not Aaron Rodgers, they need to go trade for Jameis Winston. Bring him back to a city that loves him. Bring him back to a group of leaders in the locker room who don't just love him, but they respect him. They don't just love and respect him. They also feel like he didn't get a good enough shot in New Orleans. Back in 2021, Jameis Winston had 14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. He had a QB rating of 102.8, and he had a QBR of 70. In case you didn't know, those are great numbers, and the Saints were rolling. Then he had a season-ending injury, and the rest was history for Jameis. He never truly got another opportunity to be the guy in New Orleans. So if you're not going to go and sign or at least call Aaron Rodgers and ask him if he wants to play, then why don't you go get one of your own? Why don't you go trade for Jameis Winston from the New York Giants? Yes, the same New York Giants that signed Jameis, then signed Russell Wilson to be their starter, and then drafted Jackson Dart in the first round. The Giants could do without having that whole QB conundrum going on. They would be really, really great with having Russell Wilson be the starter and then having Jackson Dart be the backup quarterback and not have to worry about reps and not have to worry about how are we going to develop this young guy when he's having to split reps with 2 older veterans. Jameis Winston would instill confidence in that building. Jameis Winston would instill confidence in the city. So if you want to move forward and not go get Aaron Rodgers, go get Jameis Winston. But guys, the reason I say all that is because whether it's Aaron Rodgers or Jameis Winston, handing the ball off to Alvin Kamara is nice. Yeah. Throwing the football to Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, throwing the ball to Brandon Cooks, having Jawan Johnson at tight end, and then also Taysom Hill, if he comes back healthy from his ACL tear. All of those opportunities for a quarterback are nice. Those guys need a nice quarterback to throw them the football. They need a guy that is going to make them believe that they can win those games. And the quarterbacks that they have on the roster between Tyler Shough, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Haener right now aren't ready to be put in that category. Also, being in a dome is nice too. Not going to lie, as a quarterback, makes your job so much easier. But the bottom line is this, guys. The Saints are in a division where the Falcons got better around Michael Penix Jr. The Saints are in a division where the Carolina Panthers got better around Bryce Young. The Saints are in a division where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got better around Baker Mayfield. So they have to make a decision and ask themselves, did we get better around Tyler Shough? Did we get better around Spencer Rattler? Did we get better around Jake Haener? I think the collective answer to that question is no. No, they didn't. I'm actually in the family group chat right now because I know in the last episode you guys found out, I'm from Coppers Cove, Texas, C-Town. That's how we do it in the Cove. But my family is from New Orleans, Louisiana. I lived in the Iberville Projects for a year in New Orleans, Louisiana. And when I asked the family group chat, what do they want? They were split. But they just want a decision. Okay? Some of them want Aaron Rodgers. Some of my family wants Jameis Winston. Some of my family doesn't want the Saints to do anything. But all I know is that the people of New Orleans want action. The New Orleans Saints already let down their city, their fan base, by not drafting Shedeur Sanders. Everybody and their grandma wanted them to draft Shedeur Sanders, but what they say? They say, we don't give a shuck, and they drafted Tyler Shough. Okay? But if you're not going to get him Aaron Rodgers, which you should, go get him Aaron Rodgers. If you're not going to do that, go get him Jameis Winston. If you're not going to do that, try to get him Kirk Cousins. Even that would be a better situation than what you have right now. But ultimately, you have to decide, are you trying to win this year? Because if you're trying to win this year, action is needed now. And if you don't take action, they ain't going to believe you. The city ain't going to believe you. The locker room ain't going to believe you. And the NFL media definitely ain't going to believe you. At the end of the day, let me know. Let the fans know. Are you trying to win this year? Be demonstrative with it. Come out and say, we are not signing any quarterbacks. We are rolling with what we have. Or come out and say, we are exploring all options. But whatever you say and whatever you do, it just needs to be explicitly stated. Because some people in the family group chat, they just want to know, are y'all trying to suck for the next 2 years? Because you want Arch Manning to come in and be the savior. There's no guarantee that Arch Manning is coming out in the 2026 draft. There's no guarantee that Arch Manning won't come out until the 2027 draft. It could be 2 years before he hits that thing. We don't even know if Arch Manning is going to be the savior or if the Saints are going to have an opportunity to draft him. But at least come out and say it. We're rolling with what we got, and everyone will interpret that as we are trying to suck so we can go get Arch. But I can tell you right now, the Saints in the city of New Orleans just have to make a decision of whether or not they're going to be the Aints. They ain't going to win. They ain't going to do nothing. They ain't going to make no move at quarterback. Because if the city understands the mission, the city can get behind that mission. If the players in that locker room understand the mission, they can get behind that mission. So you can't be, you got to be decisive. You got to let them know, hey, we're rolling with these guys. Don't say we're rolling with these guys and then go sign somebody else. Don't say we're going to go try to sign somebody else and then roll with those guys. Let it be known what you're trying to do. The players deserve that. Those veterans deserve that. And if you're going to roll with the guys you have and the veterans in that locker room don't believe you have a chance to win, then you have to be willing to give them an opportunity to seek a trade. That's right. Alvin Kamara, Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Brandon Cooks, who you just got, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. You got to give all those guys an opportunity to seek a trade because they don't deserve to be a part of a rebuild. Tyrann Mathieu, they deserve to win now. They deserve to have an organization that is all in on them. They deserve and have earned the opportunity to be a contender. So help them be a contender. Go get Aaron Rodgers. Go get Jameis Winston. Or let it be known that you're in a full-on rebuild and you're trying to suck for Arch Manning. One way or the other, the city don't give a shuck unless you give them an opportunity or a reason to. That's our show for today. We appreciate you guys tapping in with us. Pocket watchers, make sure y'all leave a comment. Let me know what you want me to talk about next. Let me know what guests you want us to bring on the show next, because we do bring on guests. And again, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, pick up that mouse, slide it over, click, click, click. Click subscribe. We can't do this without you. And then go over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and do the same thing. Follow the podcast, Out of Pocket with RG3, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you listen to it, share it with your friends, and let's have some fun taking over this media world the right way. See y'all next time. Peace.